Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Well, we are tracking some breaking news this morning as the Spokane Valley Fire Department battled an early morning house fire.
That's right. So this all began right before 4 o'clock this morning on East Rockwell and North Burns. So Kyle Simchuk with KREM 2 explains what may have been the cause.
Well, the people living here had a lot of Christmas lights and decorations outside the home, and the Spokane Valley Fire Department says that's what started this fire. Firefighters responded around 3:15 this morning to the home on East Rockwell. 3 adults inside made it out safely along with 2 dogs. Firefighters could not find 2 cats in the home but believe they are okay and just hiding. The fire started outside near the front door. Firefighters say the home had smoke detectors, but they weren't beeping. The home is not a complete loss, however, there is quite a bit of damage. Reporting in Spokane Valley, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Kyle, thanks so much for that update. We will keep you updated here on Up with KREM and on KREM.com.
In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast in the Outdoor Weather Center with meteorologist Jeremy Legoo, because it's definitely very cold out there right now. But I know a lot of people are wondering what the travel conditions are going to be like in the coming days.
Yeah, that's right. I know I'm traveling over the past. Jeremy, what's the pick day?
Today.
Today?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, today is definitely the pick day. Right now, passes aren't looking too bad. And here in town, I know it looks like a winter wonderland, but it is actually going to get a lot worse when it comes to travel weather. Right now, we sit at 20 degrees. Our light little flurries have kind of wound down a bit. Still a couple in the air. Don't expect any accumulation out of these early on today, but do expect temps to start rising. We're near 20 across much of the inland northwest. And by this afternoon, we'll be the better part of 30, and by this evening we'll be up near 30 as we get that next push of moisture moving in. That next push of moisture comes in from the southwest. The reason we see snow at first is because there's so much cold in place right now that it starts as snow. But look, right now the mountain passes are looking good, both directions. This is your time to travel right now if you can. What winds up happening later today is we get that push of moisture, and by tonight, we're talking rain and snow over the Cascades. We're talking snow here in the inland northwest. That push of moisture bringing about more snow by tomorrow morning, but you're really not going to want to drive early tomorrow morning because Interstate 90 will be dealing with a wintry mix and potentially some nasty icing. And then eventually we get that push of warmer air, and that melts everything as we get our next shot of rain moving through. And by Thursday, it's rain that transitions back into snow later on. So that day is kind of a bit nasty. And then Friday, more snow. So it's really all about finding those gaps in the days. And as they get closer, we'll let you know when those gaps should arrive.
The Idaho Department of Health and Welfare ended crisis standards of care for North Idaho yesterday. So this means care for patients without COVID will go back to normal. The Panhandle District was the only area of that state still under crisis standards. The state's health and welfare director says the number of COVID-19 patients is still high in northern Idaho and that the healthcare systems are still stressed, but the amount of patients is no longer exceeding the available resources. He says the situation is, quote, fluid and variable with the increasing number of Omicron cases. Right now, Tim Pham is going to break down for us what Omicron and what COVID in general is looking like across the country.
Yeah, that's right, Channing. So the coronavirus Omicron variant is now the dominant strain here in the U.S. So later today, President Joe Biden will give a speech with new details on the fight against the virus now that Omicron again is spreading so rapidly. The CDC says the variant is responsible for 73% of the country's new cases last week. In some areas, the number could be even higher. Officials are taking action to slow the spread. Washington, D.C. reinstated an indoor mask mandate while Los Angeles canceled its in-person New Year's Eve celebrations. New York could also follow suit.
An upward trajectory that is steeper than anything we've seen previously.
Omicron moves very fast. It's very transmissible. It moves fast. We have to move faster.
The U.S. has its first confirmed death related to the Omicron variant, a Texas man who was unvaccinated with underlying health conditions. Unvaccinated individuals remain by far the most at risk, according to the CDC. They say they are 20 times likelier to die of COVID than those who've received the shots. Channing?
Well, starting today, Canada will once again require fully vaccinated Canadians to provide a negative COVID test when returning. Less than a month ago, the country exempted Canadian citizens and even permanent residents who spent 72 hours or less outside the country. This comes as the CDC added 8 countries to its highest risk category.
If you're not vaccinated, I would say travel is really not a great idea because you are in a very vulnerable place now with Omicron.
On top of changing guidelines, cancellations and delays have made the holiday week a difficult one for some people trying to catch flights. Now, Moderna says its booster appears to provide protection against Omicron. The drug company released preliminary data from their lab yesterday. Tests found its booster provides increased antibody levels to fight the virus. It also found a double dose of the booster pushed those levels up much higher. Now, in the meantime, burnout among healthcare workers continues to be a serious issue as hospitals all over the country enter their latest surge of new COVID cases.
For 2 Indianapolis doctors, repeating that same information over and over again is really becoming exhausting on the job, they say. Now, they want people to understand that COVID is very real and say their own mental and physical health has suffered in the last 2 years.
Every hospital in the city's full. Every hospital's on diversion. We're all on a bed crunch. We're all on a staffing crunch.
Most of us are suffering from a bit of compassion fatigue. I mean, it's exhausting. I mean, most of us are having trouble sleeping. Our own health has diminished somewhat. We've all gained weight.
Despite their burnout and fatigue, both say they are still dedicated to helping those in need.
For more information about the Omicron variant, text COVID to the number 509-448-2000 and we'll send a link to your phone. The time now is 8:07. It is time for your morning rush. More news in less time.
A man accused of kidnapping a Lewiston teen is set to appear in court today. 36-year-old Jonathan Bowles and the 15-year-old victim were found by police in Spokane Valley earlier this month. Bowles is charged with multiple counts, including second-degree kidnapping and third-degree assault.
Former South Dakota State offensive coordinator Jason Eck was introduced as the 36th head football coach in University of Idaho history. The new Vandals head coach will be no stranger to Moscow as he spent 3 seasons as the offensive line coach for Idaho from 2004 to 2006. Eck was an offensive lineman at the University of Wisconsin during the late 1990s. During Eck's time with the Badgers, the team won a Big Ten championship and a Rose Bowl in 1998.
Today, Chaz Health is holding their annual Homeless Memorial. So this memorial honors Spokane area individuals who were experiencing homelessness when they died. According to Chaz, 162 people experiencing homelessness died this year. So their homeless outreach team will be passing out winter survival items during today's event, and that takes place at 11 a.m. at the Denny Murphy Clinic.
Votes are in. Kitty Cantina is the Feline Foster Heroes winner. They are a rescue/coffee shop right here in Spokane. So they got a $5,000 grant for their animal welfare organization. We spoke to the Cat Cafe last week and they say they're going to use the money to help animals at Spokanimal. Well, the time is, time for holiday photos. Can you see what's wrong with this one?
Yes.
Yeah, Chang's like immediately. I see the red flag there. Okay, so there's tons of good, awkward photos and the nice ones too, but we want to see the awkward ones. We're showing some of our favorites coming up next.
And the one thing to know is that winter officially started. Here we are just 10 minutes into the coldest months of the year, and winter's upon us. We're talking snow in the forecast.
All right, it is time now for your wake-up call, and we want to know, what's your favorite holiday treat to make, buy, or just enjoy? As always, you drive the conversation on this show, so text us at 509-448-2000 or head on over to social media and use the hashtag #UpWithKREM.
But first, here's a live look outside. We say good morning to you, Inland Northwest. Thanks so much for watching Up with KREM. A big shout out to our friends in Davenport, Chewelah, and Santa, Idaho.
Santa!
Let us know where you're watching from this morning. Grab a cup of coffee and join us for more Up with KREM.